Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 1456.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about, will lower inflation mean lower interest rates? Because recently we had a little bit of a bout of higher inflation, and that sent interest rates into a tizzy. We had interest rates rising, we had the stock market panicking, we had a lot of repercussions from possible fewer cuts, and some people even said no interest rate cuts this year. But we know better. We know to keep our cool. We know that some of these gyrations happen. We know that sometimes reports come in a little bit stronger or weaker than expected, and that can send interest rates reeling, which can also impact stocks. But ultimately, they come back to the mean and usually continue on the path that they've been on. And that's what we see right now. We're seeing inflation coming in a little bit less. What we saw was the December Consumer Price Index, or CPI, climbed 0.2% from November, which was a deceleration because November was at 0.3% on a monthly basis. Annually, inflation is rising at 3.2%. Before December came in at 3.2, the last 4 months had been stuck at 3.3% average annual inflation for the past 4 months. And this was the first time since July that year-over-year core CPI saw a deceleration in price growth. And because CPI's headline consumer prices increased to 2.9% in December over November's 2.7% annual gain in prices, interest rates tightened and a lot of fear came into the market as people speculated fewer interest rate cuts would happen this year. However, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller yesterday provided a more optimistic forecast for interest rate cuts this year than some of his other Fed colleagues. He said he expects inflation to allow the Fed to cut multiple times in 2025, beginning sooner than the market expects, though he said it will still depend on how the data plays out. He said as long as the data comes in good on inflation or continues on that path, then I certainly see rate cuts happening sooner than maybe the markets are pricing in. He added that the total this year could be maybe 4 cuts, 3 cuts, depending on what the data tells you this year. If the data doesn't cooperate, then you're going to be back to 2 and maybe even 1. Well, he's speculating a lot there, but I tend to be on the path of more interest rate cuts than fewer. Right now, oil prices were up around 2.8% this week, putting it on track for the 4th straight week of gains since July 1st. But earnings this season are off to a strong start overall, with 77% of the companies that have reported thus far beating expectations, according to FactSet. When we look at consumer numbers, consumers spent less than expected in December, though they still kept up with inflation, according to a Census Bureau release on Thursday. Retail sales were up 0.4% on the month, down from the upwardly revised 0.8% growth in November, and below the 0.5% Dow Jones consensus estimate. But if you exclude auto-related items, sales were up 0.4%, in line with expectations. Things like sporting goods, musical, and bookstores reported an increase, and gas station sales were also up 1.5%. Building material and garden stores posted a 2% decline, while bars and restaurants saw a 0.3% pullback. In terms of jobs, there was an increase of 14,000 jobs from the previous week and higher than the forecast for 210,000 at 217,000. And manufacturing activity improved dramatically in January as the new year started with surges in new orders and shipments. The Philadelphia Federal Reserve Manufacturing Survey posted a reading of 44.3%, representing the percentage difference between companies seeing growth against contraction for the month. That was up from negative 10.9 in December, representing the highest level since April of 2021 and the biggest single-month gain since June of 2020. So we had more manufacturing activity, a little bit less inflation, and pretty good jobs growth. And that good news helped us see the Dow up 700 points on Wednesday, while the S&P 500 was up 1.8% and the NASDAQ was up 2.5% that day. And one thing we may all have noticed is the inflation on groceries. Groceries are up the most since October of 2023, and egg prices are what stand out, up another 3.2% month over month, rising 8.2% in November. The price of eggs has risen 37% over the last year. So we'll continue to follow through and see how inflation goes going forward, but I do think we're going to see some relief this year that will allow for more interest rate cuts than what people are fearing at the moment. If you're thinking about your finances for next year and making some important decisions about who's going to be guiding you in those finances, consider joining the Be Wealthy and Smart VIP Experience, my personal investing insight group. Members of the VIP experience join once and then have lifetime access to invest with me for years to come. It includes monthly live webinars with me with live Q&A for me to answer questions, an asset allocation model for your stock portfolio, so you know exactly what to invest in with symbols and what percentages to invest. And in addition, we offer a full crypto portfolio of cryptocurrencies to invest in, as well as private equity. So companies before they have an IPO or initial public offering. Buying them as a private business can often be a very lucrative investment if you're an accredited investor. We also have our own tech team. So we have individuals that can help you one-on-one to get you unstuck from any crypto situation you might find yourself in, whether that's setting up a wallet, transferring crypto, getting your first purchases made on exchanges, setting up limit orders. Our tech team is there to help you. We also have a private Facebook group where I interact many times a day with people and share articles, updates, market commentary, and interact with the greater VIP community. If this is something that is of interest to you, check out our limited time offer in the show notes below.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.